Welcome to High Ground. My name is Tanner, and what's old is new again. So we're going to do a little bit of a history lesson in this video for those that may not know, or perhaps for those that may have not noticed. I don't know if anybody else has pointed this out yet, but I didn't see anybody else. So if they did, I swear I didn't steal the idea. TSM versus Space Station will happen in the very final play day. We have it in the very first position, so I would have preferred it to be in the last position, but what are you going to do? The winner might get first place. Space Station need to win in regulation, and if TSM get a single point, so if they go to overtime or they win in regulation, they'll get first place. And this is not the first time something like this has happened. So we're going to rewind the clock like 3 years. We're going back to 2019 to talk about these teams just a little bit. So first up is Space Station. Fultz joins this roster in, May of 2019, and Canadian joins in September of 2019. Completing their roster that they'd have through the time period we're about to talk about. And Canadian was really the last piece that this team needed to become, well, the best team in North America for a period of time. And then their opponents, we have TSM. So in 2019, they pick up Geo in November. So this is before USN, United States Nationals, which is the first event we're going to talk about. Chala is the player that's on the roster for a really, really long time, but he actually joins after all this stuff happens. So I'm going to talk about USN, I'm going to talk about SI, and I'm going to talk about Pro League Season 11. So Chala's not a part of this. It's Pojaman along with Geo, Achieved, Merc, and Bolo. So going over to USN, this is the sort of breakout performance for the new Space Station roster, and I guess just for Space Station in general. They'd always been sort of fighting to make it to the top of NA. They were around the middle. There was a period of time where they were getting a lot of draws, and yeah, they were always a team that was trying to break into the top, but they never could. And then TSM sort of had this meteoric rise. They picked up the players from Accelerate, and then, they replaced a few of them. Again, they got Geo. So TSM, more of the new upstart team, and Space Station, it was a newly formed team in Fultz and Canadian coming in, but Rampy and Bosco and Thinking Nate had been on the roster for quite some time. So maybe Space Station sort of representing the old guard a little bit more than TSM was, who again were sort of this new team. Space Station take down the event flawlessly. There were qualifiers and stuff for this event, but the final bracket, Space Station blazed their way through 2-0, 2-0, 3-0, perfect 7-0, didn't drop a map. And TSM 2-0 into getting 2-0. So they got third, fourth place, and Space Station just a straight up first place. Incredible performance. But you want to take down something bigger. This was just the United States Nationals, not an international competition. So on to SI. And technically, bookending SI is Pro League Season 11. It started before SI and it ends after SI. We're just going to talk about SI first because the significant thing is the end of Pro League Season 11. Going over to SI, yeah. Space Station wins the whole thing. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but they did win it in 2020. Bosco, Fultz, and Rampy are still on the roster. They are former world champions, and nowadays Hot and Cold and Yeti are on the roster. Yeti brand new to the team, but he's been around for a really long time. And then Hot and Cold's been on the team for a while, but still, new-ish compared to some of the other members. Also been around forever. And then on the other hand, we have TSM. They got third place in the event overall, the second best placing NA team. So at this point in time, SSG and TSM are decidedly the two best teams in North America. And TSM, not second place at USN, but they were incredible in Pro League Season 11 coming into this. We'll talk about that more in just a second. Yeti and Hot and Cold are sort of the two new players on SSG since this time. And on TSM, they had Geo for a really long time, and Chala joins after this. He was on the roster for a really long time. Now they have Gasher and they have Snake, two brand new players, never played in T1 before. So once again, TSM in the current age is representing the sort of the new guard, and SSG the old guard. So just keep that in mind. I guess a little bit of a parallel being drawn with the two teams. Here we are in Pro League Season 11. So it started, scroll all the way up, started in January of 2020, ends in April. So it starts before SI, ends after SI. In the first half, TSM puts together, I think they didn't lose a game, but they they drew one game. Back then, there was no overtime. It was just if you drew at 6-6, 1 point for each team. Otherwise, 3 points to the winner. There were only 8 teams, so there were seven games for each team in the first split, and then 7 more games, 14 games in total. So TSM dropped 2 points by going to overtime versus Luminosity. They beat everyone else. SSG only put together 11 points. They had like a loss or two, they had a draw or two, and then they had a few wins. So only 11 points over the course of over 7 matches, not phenomenal. Whereas TSM, near perfect, getting 19 out of 21 points, I believe. And then in the second half, SSG do not drop a single point. So starting in the second half, SSG 7-5, SSG 7-5, SSG 7-5, 7-5. If they'd lost one more round, any of these games, they miss out on 2 points, and that actually would have made them not get first place. We'll see that in just a moment. They win a little bit more decisively, 7-2, 7-3, and then finally they play TSM in the very last play day. And so let's look at the how things actually end up. So keep in mind, coming into the day, SSG on 29 points, TSM on 31 points. SSG have to win in regulation. 6-6, TSM will stay above them, 1 point each. They'll win it out. So just straight up a 7-5 win or better, and SSG will be the winner of North America's Pro League Season 11. Actually, the final Pro League season. They switched to the NAL system after this, and it's a little bit different. In 2020, it was like the US division and Canada division, but then the next year it becomes the modern NAL that we've had in 2021 and 2022. Anyways, yeah, Pro League Season 11, the final Pro League season, and SSG, they win it. They win 7-5 in the very last day, almost the very last game. If they dropped a single more round in this game, or in this game, or in this game, or in this game, or in this game, if they dropped a single more round in 5 of the games they played in the second half, it wouldn't have been enough. They would have missed out on 2 points, putting them on, but obviously shy of TSM. But say they somehow only missed out on 1 point, TSM had the head-to-head over them. They had a better round differential. They also had the tie breaks. TSM lost 7-5 in the second half, but they won 7-4 over SSG in the first half. So by all accounts, they would have won, but Space Station clutched it out. So USN, first place. SI 2020, first place. Pro League Season 11, first place. And with TSM, third, fourth in USN, and then second place as far as North America teams in SI, and then they got their hearts broken here, second place in Pro League Season 11. So yeah, drawing a little bit of a parallel to what we're seeing at the moment. So I guess here we are back once again. Space Station need to win 7-5 or better, and they will claim first place. Any other result, overtime or a TSM victory, and they will claim first place with, again, 2 new players on TSM coming up from Challenger League, and then SSG, 2 new-ish players, 1 really new player, but still not actually new players to T1, just new players to the roster. So that was just something interesting that I noticed, and I couldn't help but making this video on it. I just thought it was terribly interesting. So let me know who you're rooting for in the matchup. I mean, I anticipate TSM just has more fans, but I'm a big SSG guy, and I love seeing them back on top. Both of them going to the major already locked in, and then we're going to see Sonics, Mirage, Astralis, 2 of them claim the last 2 spots. Winner of Sonics versus Mirage will take one of the spots, and then the loser might take the other spot, depending on the result of the Astralis game. Astralis might take the other spot. So we'll see what happens. Crazy final day. Could be crazier, obviously, by a little bit, but still very, very exciting. It is unfortunate. We'll see SSG versus TSM in the first game. I would have loved to have seen it, the very last game, but any of the later games would have been cool. But regardless, it's still going to be a phenomenal game. Make sure you tune in. That's going to be on October 12th, the final play day of North American League Stage 3 2022 season, the very final game of the season, okay? And then we'll be seeing the finals and SI, or the major, and then SI. So very exciting stuff coming down the pipeline, but not least of which this particular matchup, which we haven't said in quite a while. I mean, TSM and SSG 8th and 9th place at that last stage. Neither of them went to the major, and they didn't go to the major the stage before that. Oh man, just so much going on. But yeah, 2 of these former juggernauts returning to the top, and we'll see who claims the very top of North America. So that's going to do it for me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, feel free to leave them below. Maybe corrections. I guess I could have misspoke something in this video. Do let me know. I hate to misinform people, but okay, besides that, a like and a subscription would be appreciated. And with all of that being said, catch you guys in the next video.